9:29 a.m., 1 minute after United Airlines Flight 93 was hijacked. The terrorists on board American Airlines Flight 77 disengaged the autopilot and took control of the plane, turning and descending rapidly as it made its final approach toward Washington. The plane was detected again on radar screens by controllers at Dulles, who mistook it for a military fighter jet at first glance due to its high speed and maneuvering around the city. While Flight 77 was 5 miles west southwest of the Pentagon in Arlington County, it made a slow 330-degree spiral turn clockwise. By the end of its revolution, the 757 was descending 2,200 feet, pointed toward the Pentagon and downtown Washington. Advancing the throttles to full power, Hanihanjor, allegedly behind the pilot's wheel, rapidly began diving down his target. The wings clipped 5 street poles as the plane flew level above the ground, while the right wing, in particular, struck a portable generator, creating a smoke trail seconds before smashing into the Pentagon. Flying at speeds of 530 miles an hour over the Navy Annex Building adjacent to National Arlington Cemetery, Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon's western flank at 9:37 a.m. The plane struck the establishment at the first floor level and was rolled slightly to the left, with the right wing elevated as it crashed. The front part of the fuselage immediately disintegrated upon impact, while the mid and tail sections continued moving forward for another fraction of a second, with tail section debris penetrating farthest into the building. In total, the aircraft took 0.8 of a second to pass 310 feet through the three outermost of the structure's 5 rings and unleashed a massive fireball that rose 200 feet above the building. In the minutes leading up to the crash, Reagan Airport controllers had asked a passing Air National Lockheed C-130 Hercules to identify and follow the aircraft. The pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Stephen O'Brien, told them he believed it was either a Boeing 757 or 767, observing that it had silver fuselage, meaning that it was most likely an American Airlines jet. O'Brien mentioned having difficulty picking out the airplane in the East Coast haze, but moments later reported seeing a huge fireball, in which his initial assumption as he approached the crash site was that the plane had simply hit the ground. But upon closer inspection, he saw the damage done to the Pentagon's west side and relayed to Reagan Control. It looks like the aircraft crashed into the Pentagon, sir. Rescue efforts began immediately after the crash. Almost all the successful rescues of survivors occurred within the first half hour of the impact. Initially, rescue efforts were led by the military and civilian employees within the building. Within minutes, the first fire companies arrived and found these volunteers searching near the impact site to be in the way. Arlington County Fire Department took control, and Assistant Fire Chief James Schwartz took command. The firemen ordered them to leave as they were not properly equipped or trained to deal with the hazards. It took an hour for the incident command system to become fully operational. Firefighters from Ronald Reagan National Airport and Fort Myer descended upon the scene. Army engineers determined that by 2:30 on the first day, no survivors remained in the damaged section of the building. In the days after the crash, news reports emerged that up to 800 people died. Army soldiers from Fort Belvoir were the first teams to survey the interior of the crash site and noted the presence of human remains. FEMA, Urban Search and Rescue teams from Fairfax, Urban Search and Rescue, assisted the search for remains working through the National Interagency Incident Management System. Kevin Rimrod, a Navy photographer surveying the Navy Command Center after the attacks, remarked, "There were so many bodies, I'd almost step on them. So I'd have to really take care to look backwards as I'm backing up in the dark building with a flashlight." Remains recovered from the Pentagon were photographed and turned over to the Armed Forces Medical Examiner Office located at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. By October 2nd, 2001, the search for evidence and remains were complete, and the site was turned over to Pentagon officials. On September 14th at 3:40 a.m., a paramedic and firefighter who was searching through the debris found two dark black boxes. The Transportation Safety Board took over. Doc Bridges, the deputy manager for Arlington County, said the cockpit voice recorder was damaged, that the flight data recorder was charred beyond recognition. They would end up finding pieces of the landing gear, fuselage, even some broken seats. And 180 of the 189 that were killed in the Pentagon crash, their human remains were recovered at some point. 9 others were remained missing forever.